My name is Manish Chaudhry. I'm the founder and CEO of Cahoot. I'm here, happy to welcome Alan Holland from QUICKPLAY Sport. Alan, please, for our audience, if you would introduce yourself and your company.
Yeah, my name is Alan Holland. I'm CEO of QUICKPLAY Sport. We're a predominantly D2C retailer of sports equipment, soccer goals, rebounders, other training equipment. We sell predominantly on Amazon and on our website. So we started the company originally roughly 2007-ish in the UK, that's where I'm from. And we sold there for a number of years and then launched into the US in roughly 2014-ish. We sell predominantly on Amazon and then also on our own site. And we do actually sell to some retailers. We see very strong demand over here in the US specifically, soccer, which is our main sport. We do have other sports equipment as well, but soccer is our main bread and butter. And we've seen significant strong growth in line with the growth of the sport over here in the US. So it's becoming, grows in participation every single year, and we're seeing benefits from that. So we store our stock, have been storing our stock in Amazon's FBA warehouses around the country. And then we were utilizing a 3PL location on the East Coast and on the West Coast of the US. And we were finding we were having growing pains with the distribution setup that we had. It was very costly to move our stock around the country, via LTL shipments to Amazon's warehouses. We were finding the biggest issue we were finding is that for our D2C business, shipping directly out of our 3PL at the time was very costly. The rates that they had for small parcel delivery were very high for our size of product. We sell soft goals and the like, so they're big, bulky packages, and we were finding the rates that we were getting charged by UPS were very high, and couldn't absorb those ourselves. Didn't want to necessarily pass them on to the customer, and so we felt that the best option for us, as we were seeing strong growth on our website, was that we need to commit to finding a fulfillment partner that could place our stock closer to our customers and also provide better shipping rates. Sure, yeah. So you're right. At the 3PL we're working with, they weren't a small mom and pop operation. They're a decent sized 3PL. I think what the disconnect was that a lot of their customers dealt with small and light. So they had very good small and light rates, but our packages actually were, they're quite large and bulky. Some of them can be over the length or weight threshold that some of the carriers have. They're incurring significant surcharges, that sort of thing. So I think they just weren't, because we were probably one of the fewer customers who did bulky shipments. They weren't necessarily able to negotiate great rates for us on our behalf, and so we explored to start with actually opening an account directly with UPS ourselves, the shippers ourselves. We didn't find that there was really any favorable rate savings there. We then went on a procurement process where we started looking at various different 3PLs, and again, a lot of the 3PLs that we found, they tend to have their sweet spot. They either want to deal with a certain customer who has a certain order volume or has a certain size of package that they typically ship out. And we found, for one reason or another, that they felt we weren't a fit for them, or we felt they weren't a fit for us. And so I think we reviewed maybe 5 to 10 3PL providers. But some of them were significantly larger, but yeah, they were wanting clients who did upwards of multiple tens of thousands of orders per month, and then we looked at some of the smaller ones too. But as I say, they were for the most part, we found just there wasn't a really good fit for us. And we came across Cahoot because actually Cahoot were integrating with our order management system and had an integration already. And that was one of our requirements because we know, having onboarded with the 3PL before, how difficult it can be to get the API for the order management system hooked up to the 3PL. So we thought we would check with, essentially start our search with the providers, the logistics and delivery providers who already had integrations with our existing LMS. And that's actually how we found Cahoot. As we looked into the way that the business set up, we noticed it was kind of something different. It was a lot more akin to the Amazon FBA model, where stock gets placed much closer to our customers, and we're not limited by locations of, say, a specific 3PL having 1 or 2 locations around the country. You have to hold your stock there. It seemed that there was some very benefits to be had by essentially using fulfillment centers that are actually close to our customers, and the savings that you get from, especially with the parcel delivery. There's definitely quite a big difference between the two there. With some of the 3PLs we were inquiring with, you go through the very standard sales process where you fill out a 1 or 2 page form that they prepared that kind of, you just list various things like average orders, the size of your packages, that sort of thing, and some of those would progress then on to a phone call to determine fit. Some of them we just received emails back going, sorry guys, you're just not fit for us, and no real explanation why. And that was pretty much what we were used to from a 3PL process. Certainly a similar process to we went through for our last 3PL. With Cahoot, we were surprised pleasantly that the depth and length that Cahoot kind of goes into in order to analyze our business and figure out exactly where our customers are, and where it's best to place our stock, and savings that we could gain from that. I think that was a really refreshing process that Cahoot went through, I believe, about 12 months worth of order data, and gave us essentially a breakdown report exactly where our customers were in different states, and suggesting exactly where we would hold our stock and the savings that would present to us over our existing 3PL. Yeah, sure. I think we didn't really have too much anxiety ourselves about sharing our order data. We share our order data with a lot of different organizations, be it our inventory management system that plugs into Amazon. There's a bunch of other apps, for example, that plug into our Amazon Shopify that have full visibility on what how we operate as a business, and so it seemed actually like a very refreshing approach to for us to put our cards on the table and just say provide the data to exactly where our orders were, where they were, to get down to the level of detail of exactly the most common packages that we ship to different locations, that sort of thing. That was actually quite intriguing for us, and the fact that Cahoot was so engaged to go through that process actually I think put our minds at ease more than anything, to be honest. So yeah, I think it was, as I say, it was kind of refreshing in that regard, that it wasn't just a one sheet of paper, fill it in, and then here's your quote, take it or leave it. It was very much a hand-holding process where we had multiple multiple calls where we talked through the data, and there was a back and forth, between the Cahoot team and ours when there were queries about bits of the data which needed explaining or were missing. And I think, the result was that we came out of the scoping process with a lot of confidence in Cahoot, that they were a good partner for us. Very pleasantly surprised. We've actually been through scoping processes with various providers before, and I think, Cahoot have been one of the few that has not overpromised and underdelivered. For example, we, without naming names, onboarded with an ERP system a year or so ago, and they had a similarly excellent sales process and did, a lot of work to investigate into our business, exactly where they could find, where they could make improvements. But then they completely fell on the actual implementation and the launch, and we ended up parting ways with them. So that left a bad taste in our mouth. And so I suppose there was some apprehension because fulfillment is the linchpin of our business. If we can't ship our goods to customers, then we can't actually exist as a business. So it's definitely we weren't expecting Cahoot's implementation to be as good as it was. The demo was obviously very good. The platform looked great, but when we actually started working with the Cahoot, we just were continually surprised with, firstly, how engaged the Cahoot team is. We've had regular contact with Jeremy, who is pretty much always there on hand to be able to answer our questions and to solve issues we've had. The actual Cahoot platform itself is very, very clean. It works. It has some great features in it that enable us to operate in a very easy and well documented manner. And I think throughout the entire onboarding processes, we started moving stock into Cahoot and started selling through it. It's continued to surprise us pleasantly. To answer your question in the first place, was the actual promises that were made in the scoping process with regard to savings, and the ROI we would see. I feel that we continually keep watch of the numbers, and they continue to essentially meet what was promised. Average cost of shipping a unit of stock has almost halved. Which is fantastic, because shipping for us is pretty much one of the largest line items in the P&L. So that on its own has been a massive benefit. The transition has been relatively seamless. We started by shipping in a few truckloads around just before Christmas, doing holiday sales. We were very impressed with how quickly Cahoot received that stock and started turning it around and shipping it out again, especially at that time of year, obviously, because it's extremely high demand time of year for any fulfillment provider. So to be able to accommodate us at that time of year was great. And we found that was very easy. At the same time, we were essentially rerouted inbound containers to Cahoot's warehouses, and that has also been relatively painless for us. And then we would ideally like to have probably moved a little bit faster, but just the cost of actual LTL inland trucking at the moment, just being what it is, would make it cost prohibitive for us to move all of our stock from the existing 3PL, hundreds of pallets, that sort of thing, to Cahoot's warehouses. And so we kind of slow roll the transition a little bit more in the sense of selling through the existing stock that we had and our 3PL and just moving our new containers, plus some key lines into Cahoot's warehouses. And then as far as the actual dispatch and how we found the actual shipment of goods, order processing, it's very seamless. It works very well. The platform is very clean, easy to understand. I don't keep a super close eye on it, but I'm aware that our customers are getting their shipments, within, give or take, about 2-3 days. And as we continue our onboarding and continue to spread our stock more evenly, and we're personally using, I believe, 3 different fulfillment centers with Cahoot. As we spread our stock more easily around those, we know that we're probably going to get down to that 1 to 2 day kind of golden number for shipping goods, arrivals for stock for our customers. So that's very encouraging. That opposed to previously, we were telling customers that 5 to 7 business days was the best we could do. So it's quite a big turnaround for us. My advice would be, have a little faith in the process. The onboarding and the sales process that you go through with Cahoot is thorough. You end up with a very clear idea of the benefits that Cahoot could bring. Funnily enough, if anything, it almost felt too good to be true, and that actually gives you pause, because you go, I don't know, is this actually true that we could be making these savings on a small parcel of it, and on the bottom line, so I think, if anything, it's obviously worked out that way. It continues to show that it's been very beneficial for our business, and I have a lot of confidence in the Cahoot team, your ability to grow and bring on new customers. So keep at it. I think at this present time, we'd probably be giving you guys 10. And you might have gathered that by the rest of my answers, but we're very confident we made the right decision. You guys continue to deliver on that 10. So.
Well, you're setting the bar really high for us, so we have to continuously try, and this is a journey. This is not a one-time thing. And Alan, thank you so much for your time and for working with us. And we are absolutely delighted, and we are so blessed that we get to participate in your growth. And the sport of soccer is growing around the world, especially in America. So I know that you're on to great things, and we are so glad to be part of your journey.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And we're pleased to have you along.